Yellow badges are not real taxi drivers, apparently.
Well, apparently...
Thank you for supporting our channel. Please like, subscribe, comment and hit the notification bell for any future videos.
Dave, we're here today with Joe Dillon and John 007, who speaks for himself, and he's quite famous, more famous than
Infamous,
me and you.
not famous.
Yeah. And we're going to basically discuss the journey from yellow to green, how you get there and stuff like that. I mean, you did raise the issue about what did you say about your badge just then, John? It's not a real badge?
Yeah, you say it's not a real badge.
Oh, no, it is a real badge, but do you know the reason it's yellow?
No.
So there's a lot of in history involved with the taxi trade that all relates to the army of World War II, the war times. And when they came out of World War II, there was lack of jobs and stuff like that. And the same applies with requisition. You know that people often thought the rec was you've reached the required standard. That was completely wrong. It stands for requisition, and it's from the army when they would ask you to requisite a vehicle. So you maybe, I'd say, Private Dave, go and requisition a tank. You'd go to the depot, you'd take a tank out and you start driving it. So it was a military term. You'd go and requisition a taxi and away you go. And the same was for the actual badge itself. The reason they had the yellow badge is because that they thought that they were the cowards who weren't able to do the green badge. So they made it yellow.
That's strong, isn't it?
Let's kick off there.
Let's go outside.
The yellow badge and green badge come about because yellow badges were working in central London, weren't they? So it's identifiers. That's why they put them up. That's why them badges colours come about.
Well, that just puts to shame my whole story that I just made up.
That's what started. Because there was no identifier, was there? There was nothing in the window, was there? There was nothing.
No.
Yeah, but when you were
And
doing
before
the
my
knowledge,
time.
you knew that you were doing a yellow badge area.
But the reason they
knowledge.
made him yellow and green and stuck one in the back window, the identifier, was to stop yellow badges.
Oh, no,
I
that
think
Dave.
that had a major
Yeah.
factor.
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
stop
that's
the,
a lot later on.
That's a lot.
Identifiers have only been in the trade for the past 20 years.
The badge was still yellow, even though there was no identifier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But that was when they would really get away
Certain
working in
drivers would
town.
just turn it over when they're in town.
They're not wearing it.
Before my time.
Yes. I have a little story about a guy who was a yellow badge driver, and he had a complaint put in against him. And I said, so what happened? He said, well, I dropped off at the Cromwell Hospital in Pennant Mews, and the guy came out. It wasn't my fault, he said. The guy came out the hospital and he said, I want to go to somewhere that was east-based. And he said, okay, so he's got in. And as he's driven out of Cromwell Hospital, he's driving towards the airport, Heathrow Airport. And the guys then complained that the driver didn't know where he was going because he was literally going the absolute opposite direction to where he wanted to go. And the funny part about it was this yellow badge driver was trying to argue his case with me that it really wasn't his fault, that he'd picked up someone and he was taking them the wrong direction. And the fare there to Cromwell Hospital was genuine. That was his genuine fare, but the picking up at the hospital wasn't his fare, and he was in trouble.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the consequences are. You heard of anybody losing their badges for doing jobs in town?
Would you be insured?
When I first got out, taxi drivers were saying, here he is, he's in town, he's got his cab, he's going to be in town all the time now, nicking the work. And I thought, yeah, that's why I bought a white cab and put a private plate on so I could just mingle in with the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, I stand out like a sore thumb. So for me, especially on the knowledge, if I was to go around picking up, jobs, you get jobs on the apps, and that's
Can you work?
Great.
Can the yellow badge work the app in
Well,
town?
they tried to put a stop to that, didn't they? Because when I was doing the knowledge, I was at a little school in Barking, and I'd said to somebody there that I was offered a job. I think it might have been Get. I think it was Get Taxi at the time, and I absolutely loved. I had the buzz of being a green badge, but I wasn't a green badge. I was doing the knowledge for the green, and every time I dropped off, I picked up because the app allowed me to. Obviously, I didn't really think about it too much at the time, thinking that it was wrong. It was the app that was offering me the job, and I believe that Comcab also does that. They offer jobs to...
Comcab always have.
Yeah. So anyway, when I sort of said about it at the school, I had a few people that it went from one person to the other, and then I got slaughtered online. Absolutely slaughtered.
I'm on your side.
And I felt terrible. I thought...
I think once you're working through the app, you become like a minicab driver.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
what you're saying
That's
is,
pre-booked.
I can't be a minicab driver. I could be a minicab driver and do this work, but as someone who's qualified as a yellow badge driver, I can't do this work. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
No, you can't go backwards behind a minicab driver.
No, not at all. So I'm completely. You absolutely got the right to use the apps if the minicab driver.
I wasn't legally doing anything wrong, although I was working in a green badge area and hadn't done the knowledge in
Yeah.
that area.
Yeah.
It made me feel terrible, and the abuse was just
The,
really
the,
not nice.
the abuse in our trade is quite something that we probably, because
I've
John's
learned
had his
that
fair
along the
share of
way.
this
Yeah.
abuse.
Yeah.
For 3 years, Free Now never offered me a job outside my sector. But recently, I don't know if it's because a lot of green badges come off the app because the conditions they were kicking drivers off for not taking work. So they've seemed to have let yellow badges pick up anywhere.
Yep.
Oh, right.
So yeah, I've done my fair share. Do I feel comfortable doing it? Because of the cab I'm driving, the plate and the private plate I've got on there, people know me. You know, I'll get seen in town. Yeah, I'll do my knowledge in town as well. So I tend not to do it that often because I feel uncomfortable doing
Why
it.
don't you just get a black cab with a normal number plate? I
That
mean,
would
no.
solve your problems.
Why,
Yeah.
why did you do the yellow badge and not the green badge in the
I
beginning?
was on the green.
You are on the green, you mean?
Well, I am on the green.
You're,
yeah.
you're sorry, you're
But
studying to do the green badge.
I was on the green, switched to yellow, done
go
the yellow badge, and then went straight on to the green.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah.
why did you do that? Why? Was you struggling with the green badge in the beginning, in London?
So in 2017, I got diagnosed with prostate cancer. They told me I had 10 years, and if I was 70, that they wouldn't do anything. So I then thought, why not I do the knowledge? So how am I going to get back into the knowledge? When I need to go and earn money, how am I going to earn money? Well, I'll go and drive for Uber. Because I didn't see the transition. When I left Addison Lee in 2011, I didn't see the transition. So I didn't know all about all the hate in 2015. I was completely out of the industry. I hadn't driven a car, you know. I hadn't been in central London for years. So, you know, my sons were using Uber, and I thought, what's this Uber? And I got a couple of Ubers, I spoke to the drivers, and I thought, I'll give this a go. And I saw a guy called Gig Guy London on YouTube, and then he sort of got me into it. And I thought, well, I'll just document my journey all the way through from getting back into private hire and being a private hire driver, moving on to being a taxi driver. I thought that would be a good transition of a channel, but yeah, it went a bit awry along the way. So yeah, I did the private hire, got into the green, and I just found it a bit overwhelming at first. And then my uncle does white taxis for weddings. And he said, look, do the yellow badge. You'll do it in a year. Do that. I can give you work. That way you work less. Hasn't worked out that way.
It never does.
You'll work less and you do more knowledge. Because as an Uber driver, you know, I was doing like 12, 15 hours a day, you know, showing drivers how to earn money and stuff like that, and doing YouTube. Like the YouTube was paying me like £300 to £500 a month. So that was paying for stuff. So it was worth doing. But I sort of was a bit naive with it all, really. And then, you know, I was probably showing too much what I was earning, what I was doing. But a lot of those drivers that watch my channel have come to Wizan. You know, they put up alongside me and tell them I'm on the knowledge. You got me on the knowledge. There's drivers that have got out even before me that are on the green badge now, and they said, I watched your channel, and I got into it. You know, so...
You should watch your own channel.
I pulled it all down, you know why.
Yeah.
But we'll go into that later.
Yeah.
But,
Go into it now. Why?
well...
Is it true to say you had an unorthodox method of doing the knowledge?
Yes. It wasn't... See, a lot of people think I was trying to cheat the system. I wasn't trying to cheat the system. I just thought, well, I've driven around London like for 30 years. I know where I'm going. Yeah, I don't know the names of the roads, but I know what I'm doing. You know, I've never had a customer saying, where are you going? I've never had that. I've always customers said, it's a good route. I like that. Thank you very much. You know, and there's a tip. So I've never had a problem driving. I've got a problem with studying. I left school at 14. You know, I'm not thick. I'm like...
From South East London.
Intelligent Cockney, you know. But I'm not good at schoolwork. I'm shit at studying. So...
Did you do the blue books?
I've done them now.
Oh, you're joking.
I've got...
But you didn't do them. When you
No.
first done the
No.
green badge, you hadn't done the blue books.
No.
And did you struggle as a result of that?
No. I don't think so. I struggled with my first appearance because when I did my yellow badge, I mean, the yellow badge is a lot easier. There's a lot less information to take on board. So it's quite easy. Although I did find Crayford and Bexley, somewhere I'd never been in my life, a lot harder than central London that I've driven for around all my life. So I found that a bit harder. And Mr. Wilkins lived in Crayford once, and he named all his little closes. You've been to Crayford? Yes, sir. You sure? So yeah, that was a
He
fun.
lives down in Kent now, doesn't he? Right
Does he?
down in Kent, yeah. I'm sure when Mr. Price was alive, he used to tell me about him
Yeah.
being in his garden way down in Kent.
But what did you do, Joe? How did you end up? You're a yellow badge still.
No, I'm a green badge.
Oh, well done.
Yes, I've
okay.
been a green badge for 9 years.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Keep up,
Put you on the shame here.
Yeah, so my journey was my husband is a green badge, his brother, my brother-in-law. My sister is a green badge who studied here, Tracy Mitchell. That's my sister.
Really?
Yeah. So I was already a yellow badge. So how I worked in banks. I worked in TSB Bank. I worked local authorities. I had a long gap between my children. I had 2 daughters who were 12 and 8. And suddenly I find myself, I'm having twins. So I gave up my job. I had the twins. I gave up my job. And then when they were 5, well, they was about 4 actually, I said to my husband, I want to go back to work, but I don't want to work for anybody. And he said, why don't you try the yellow badge? So that's what I done. So I done sector, Barking, Dagenham, Havering. So I done it within 14 months, just got
So
on
you
and
sector 2 City Airport.
Sector 2 City Airport.
Yeah.
So at the time, so I went back, yes, done the knowledge, and then my husband was green badge and we shared the taxi. So I would go over City Airport 5 a.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays. He would take the boys to school and then he would go to the Peacock Gym. And then once he was finished at the Peacock Gym at 1, we'd swap over. He'd then get in the the taxi and go to work. I'd then go to the school, pick the kids up, and that was our little routine. And this went on for a good few years. And I must say, I worked Tuesday and Thursday morning, and then I'd do an all-day Sunday. And that was so 1 full day, 2 half days. And it was a real good earner. For me, it was really satisfying, you know. And I still had all that other time off and, you know, to get on with the household chores, being a mum to 4. Anyway, life was really good. And then all of a sudden the Olympics happened. It all got flooded with Uber drivers. It was 2012. My sister said to me, Joe, I'm thinking about doing the knowledge. What do you think I should do, the green or the yellow? Bearing in mind her husband is a green and my husband's a green. I went, I'll do the yellow, you do it in 14 months. You know, I'm having a right good time, you know, at the moment, do it, you know, how I work. And she's got 4 kids as well, you know, they were young at the time. It will work, you know. Anyway, she thought about it and she thought, nah, do you know what? I'll go straight in with a green. And she done it. So as she was getting further and further to finishing, my sector was drying up, I must say, because of the Olympics. So 2013, I decided, right, I'm going to give this a go. And I wanted to do it. Everyone else had done it in my family. And I just thought, do you know what? Let's just do it. It was hard, and I still kept my yellow badge. I still done a little bit of work on the yellow badge. And I didn't find the green easy because I was a mum to 4, all still at school. And
Yeah, I'm not finding it easy.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think I did come down to Wizan down at Bow,
Yeah.
Gillender Street. I didn't really feel comfortable at the time. I don't know why. I didn't know nobody. I'd been to Courtney's. I tried a good few
Done 'em
different
all.
places. I'd done them all, and I ended up at Barking, and I'd done a lot at home as well. No help from my husband because we'd argue. You know.
Do you think, though, you didn't feel comfortable because it was men? Be honest. Do you think, like, would it be better if there was somewhere if you'd been women?
There was no women when I come down. I got all my equipment, all
Yeah.
my books and everything from Wizan. I went in and I just looked around and I got a bit overwhelmed.
Can be.
And I
Yeah.
thought, oh God. Oh.
I think it'd be the same the other way
And
around
no
in
one-
some respects. If it was
yeah.
all women and I walked in, I'd feel worse than if it was all men.
Yeah.
Well, I'm single, so I'd be like, well, this is a place to
No,
come.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
I'd be duck out of water.
Yeah.
I would be going, no, I don't like
Yeah,
like seeing
it was always hard. I used to try my best to be there to make it as comfortable as possible for the women to get into it and adapt to it. But you really have to have a little bit of backbone in a sense. It's really, like you
Yeah.
say, it's not easy to go in that environment and then start
Yeah.
working with people.
In the day, you're going to be driving a cab, and you've got to have a bit of a backbone doing that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that,
Gotta
that
lose your
kind of
inhibitions,
study.
that's
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
you learn that though when you're out there, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, but when you're studying, you know, a bit of embarrassment, getting things
Yes.
wrong,
Yeah.
stuttering a bit, not as good as the person
Yes.
that you're calling over with. Oh, she's shit. Get her out. You know, like you know, the confidence just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then I went to Barking, and there was 4 other ladies there.
That's the difference.
It made
Yeah,
a big
yeah.
difference. But do you know what? I didn't only call over with ladies. Once I was comfortable, I happily
Yeah.
called over with
Yes.
them, and we had a lovely little thing there. It was a comfortable place.
It was the initial
And,
walking in.
It was the initial walking
Yeah.
in, yeah.
I
And
could-
I
I
think
could get that.
obviously
I'd be the
Wizam
same.
was a lot bigger,
Yeah.
and that unit there was massive, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was
Had
huge,
upstairs
yeah.
as well, didn't it?
Yeah, we had 5,000 square feet and I think
Yeah.
150 tables. So
Yeah.
it was huge.
Yeah. And everyone's got their head down. You walk in, everyone's got their head. Everyone's really working hard, and sort of trying to find someone to talk to here. Like,
To be honest with you, though, I understand that feeling completely because I'm exactly the same. I didn't go to a school. The school was in Clements Road, near the biscuit factory. And I used to go in there and get my point sheets, but I'd walk in there and the people would be studying and they would all... I was very young at the time. I was only 26 and I was always fairly small, but there was all guys like you sitting there, Dave, and it was really
thanks.
intimidating. Well, you guys like you of today, not guys like you of like when we were younger. And it is, I was too intimidated by that and I just got on with it and
Yeah.
studied at home.
I think you all are though, because if you go in anywhere and you've got all these people that are really good at something, and you're walking in, look, when you walk in, you're all rubbish.
Yeah.
of course you are.
Yeah, you are. That's
Yeah.
just, and you don't realise that. do you?
Yeah, yeah,
If
no,
people only
no.
knew that you're all rubbish in the
Yeah.
beginning.
You just about
And
know
you've
your blue
just
book.
got to get over that hurdle and walk through the door, and keep sitting there for what would you reckon? A good cut 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you're on first name terms with a few people.
Yeah.
Cup of tea, and you
That's
start.
it, and then you start,
you're all
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I mean, it got that nice there. I was taking in chicken stews and beef casseroles. I was feeding them all,
Yeah.
because that's me.
Well, we used to have that idea as well. When people used to pass out, they used to have big parties of a pass out
Yeah.
in the school because it was big enough for that. And there was one guy called Pepe. Pepe had a stutter. Pepe was West Indian. And he passed out and he threw a party in the school and his mum cooked all the food. This is the funniest thing ever. They're all eating the food. It's a big spread on. There's goat curry and all sorts of stuff. And people were eating the food. And then everybody's coming around saying, the food's amazing. The food's amazing. Literally everybody. And I said to Pepe's mum, how did you make the curry? He said, oh, it's a little bit of the goat and a little bit of the ganja and a little bit. And then everybody realised he's put grass in all the food. They're all high as kites. The food tastes lovely because she was proper old school West Indian. It was amazing.
Blimey.
What's the best goat curry you'll ever eat?
But dish
I
that-
had problems with schools because you walk into a school and you're, oi, oi.
Oh, yeah, because you're a face now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, infamous. So I've never felt comfortable in the school environment.
I think you've got to go there and sit there. I think it can be demoralised. Some people just think that they're really rubbish when then you're all rubbish, as you say.
Yeah.
So don't take a lot from it in your first appearances or whatever.
Yeah.
Just go to the schools and sit there.
Yeah.
When I say it's uncomfortable, I mean it's uncomfortable for ladies walking in. You like them days, there might have been 40, 50 blokes off, whatever.
Oh, there was. It
yeah,
was predominantly men.
that's
yeah.
what's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That bit.
Yeah.
If you'd have had a mixture
Yeah.
of men and women, and you soon got to sit, there's a couple pretty good, and there's a couple. No, I've only just started.
Yeah.
You with no time, you'd have felt all right.
Yeah.
But when you walk in all men, and it's like a western where it all stops, isn't it? And the tumbleweeds going down the street.
I think it's less than 3%, isn't it? It's around about the 3% mark
It's
women.
very
So
low.
that's 97 men to
Very
3
low.
women.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm on a WhatsApp group with all women, all lady cab drivers, and it's
How many women on there?
There's 40 odd women on this particular WhatsApp group.
That's
and then-
every woman cab driver in London. then.
Yeah, we all come from different areas of London.
Is this the group that's got that name that you
No.
mentioned?
This
That's
is
another
the,
group.
this is the London Ladies Taxi group.
ladies.
This is the respectable one.
But now you've gone from yellow to green. Was it the right decision?
It certainly was the right decision. It
Oh,
really,
good.
really was. I come out of there on that Friday with my badge round my neck and my identifiers, and I went straight to the garage, got a cab, and drove into Berkeley Square where I got my first job to. Where did I go? Cornwall Gardens.
Give it away.
And I gave that one away, and I was buzzing. I really was. And that was a Friday. Done about 4 or 5 jobs, and sort of headed home, eased myself in, and I absolutely loved it. I
Yeah.
really, really did, and I still do.
Do you share a cab with your husband now? Or what do
No,
you do?
no.
You're
So
both
both got-
divorced now, yeah? Because it sounds like you had the perfect marriage where he the cab parked, you took it over, he
Yeah.
went out with his girlfriend, you came home, you went out with your boyfriend. Like,
No, we got our own. So once I got me green, I started to rent a cab.
yeah.
So and that's 9 years ago, and still do. So
And your son's doing the knowledge.
my son-in-law
Son-in-law is doing the knowledge.
doing the knowledge. Yeah. So we are a whole family. Danny Mitchell, you know, Dean Mitchell. They probably all, I think they all went to Wizan.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're all my.
They're not linked to Jason Mitchell.
Yeah, that's my brother-in-law. That's my sister's husband, Kerry.
Yes, Kerry Mitchell. Oh,
Yeah.
dear. Jason and Kerry are lovely. Give them my regards. I haven't seen them for
Will
a
do,
long, long
yeah.
time. I would consider them dear people to me, certainly on the knowledge history of the
Right.
knowledge. Maybe they should come on. Are they still driving?
Yeah, both of them still
They should
driving.
come on as
yeah,
brothers.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and their
so-
son done it as well.
Yeah, two of their sons done it. Yeah, and
bloody
then
hell, that's
nephews. It is a
proper cab
we
driver
must have
family now.
about 20 in the family,
Oh, jeez.
and me and my sister, obviously, you know,
20?
wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be 20 in the family that are all cab drivers. Yeah.
I think
What
Jason
happens
and
at
Kerry
Christmas?
was
You're
the
all around the
first.
same house.
No,
They're all
no,
cabs.
no cab talk, no cab talk whatsoever.
No.
No.
What the main question I wanted to ask now then is, if I was to say to you, like I think John had said to him, and many yellow badges have said to them, why don't you do the yellow first? And I've always felt that's a bad idea. What would you feel about that now? If you was to give someone advice,
Do the green straight away.
don't even.
Don't even bother with
Yeah, I
the
would
yellow.
say that.
Yeah. To be quite honest, when I was having my appearances up in Islington, Penton Street, one of the examiners said then, he said to me, "Why are you doing the yellow?" And I said, "Why you know, your calling's really, why don't you just go in and do the green?" I said, "Because I'm a mum to 4 kids here. I haven't got the time to do the green. I want to go back to work. I want to work for myself, and I just thought it'd be a good idea to do the yellow." And he said, "Okay, fair enough."
I had
and
that from
and there was
examiners
somebody
as well.
already in that waiting room that was transitioning then. You know, he'd done the yellow, and he said, "I've literally had that badge 3 months, and I've gone straight in to do the green."
Yeah, that's
Bit like what you said, yeah.
yeah.
And at the time, I thought, I would never, all those points, all those hours of being out, however am I going to do that? So, but I done
And
it.
you
I
did
got
it.
in, and it took me just under 4 years.
Yep.
I didn't have an easy time. I did get to 3 all 28s, and I did get redlined. And I
Yes.
was devastated.
Well, this is interesting. Yes.
Completely devastated. In fact, I spat my dummy out in that room, and I said to the examiner, "That's it. I'm done. And he said, "Oh, Mrs. Dillon," he said, "Well, that's up to you." He said, "I can't tell you what to do." He said, "But you didn't perform well today, and my decision's my decision." I just thought, "You bastard."
Who was it?
It was
An examiner that's gone now, maybe.
he's died.
Oh,
Swire.
Mr. Swire.
Mr. Swire. Anyway, so I then had the complete. I come home to my husband and said, "That's it, I'm done. I am absolutely done. I can't do this no more." Really, absolutely gutted. Honestly, I was cried all weekend. Anyway, that Sunday morning. This was on the Friday. On the Sunday morning, husband went, "Right, come on, get in the cab. We're going out. Me and you are going out. We're going into Mayfair, we're going to have breakfast, and I'm going to drive you here, there and everywhere. You're going to take note of absolutely everything I'll show you." And he'd never intervened before. He let me get on with it. I think he just wanted to do me a little pick-up, and he gave me a couple of routes, what I should do if I was going, say, like from Mayfair over to Battersea, you know, like a no-light run and in and out of it, you know. And anyway, I got back into it. So my first next 28 was with Mr. Whitehead, and I'd been away to Weymouth for a week, and I cut my holiday short. I left husband and the 2 boys camping, and I got on the train. I come back to Waterloo, got myself home, went out the whole weekend, so sacrificed like half my holiday because I was so worried about my next appearance. I went up there and smashed it with Mr. Whitehead, and he really made me feel, you know, "You're okay, you're doing all right. You're going to get there. Stop worrying," you know. And I did, and I flew through that next set of 28s.
So your husband done you a right good turn.
He done me a right good turn, and the route that he told me to do, which I'd done, I got asked it in an appearance, and I used it, and it was like, oh my God, I can't believe
Little
this has
bit of
come
luck.
up. Yeah. And then from there, I just went from strength to strength, and then flew through 21s.
See, I'm where you are, where you were. I'm 3-3. I'm up Monday,
Right.
and I'm at that point. It's been a marathon because you can imagine. I came into private hire at 2018. You know, there's a little Mickey Mouse test you have to do for that. So I did that, and then you get into it, and then you get onto the knowledge for the green, and then I switched, and then I completed that. Then I started driving, and then I went straight into the green. And now in 2024 or 2025, I'm 3-3, and I'm really at that point where I've had that moment with an examiner. I'll give a shout out to the examiner. I'm not scared to name her. Mum is, and she was great because she gave me a D, and I think she could just see that was it. That was it for me. I'm done. I ain't doing no more. I didn't say it, but I think she just read it on my face. She says, "You're overwhelmed, aren't you?" I said, "Yes, Mum." Goes, and it was like a therapy session. I just suddenly went, bosh, told all my problems and everything that was going on in my life, you know. And she says, "Don't worry, you'll get it done. You'll get it done." Without her intervention and her having that chat with me, I was that close. I can't give up. I don't want to give up, but I'm at that point where it's just, I just need it done now.
Well, we all need it done. But getting back to the issue, you was on 3-3. We're talking about that. Kerry and Jason, they wouldn't have done that system. They wouldn't have had the scoring system. I'm fairly sure they were out before that. Yeah. The point is that to get to 3-3, you're not the greatest student in the world.
You're not the worst.
No, not the worst. But you're also now being given an appearance that is far more harder than anybody else's appearance because you've got an additional stick and carrot idea in front of you that makes it even more pressure. So it is kind of, the other thing was the numbers were declining so much over this period of the past 20 years, people on the knowledge. And one of the factors was this aspect that you can go up the snakes and ladders idea. You climb so high and then lose everything. And it would really...
That just baffles me.
Well, I'm not surprised so many people must have given up over the years.
Oh, yeah,
because
I can imagine.
I've met so many people on my journey. I mean, I started my knowledge when I was 26. I tried it then. I was a mini cab driver in Lewisham when I first tried it. And I've met along the way over the years so many people that have given up on Blue Books. They just feel so overwhelmed with work and life. And so many good cab drivers. The redlining system, I just don't understand why we still got it when we ain't got the numbers. It was brought in because we had too many numbers. They had to whittle the system down. Now, I think the only reason we got it now is to keep the knowledge going, because if everyone was to pass out in the next 18 months, TfL, why do we need the knowledge?
Yeah, they do have a dilemma in that sense.
So they are so you have to give it to the examiners. They are protecting the knowledge to keep it there. But, you know, you get 7-9 points and then you get put back and you start again, you know, and you think, well, I've just passed those exams. Why am I going back? I always thought when I first started it was 4Ds and then you got put back. On my first, when I finished my first 56, because it's 4Ds and I won't get 4Ds in the trot, and I didn't. But then I found out it's like a penalty system, and I was shocked. Then I thought, oh my God, I've read this wrong.
Well, what if you got 3 Cs? That's the worst case. 3 Cs off to a great start, and then all of a sudden 4 Ds, and everything that you you've done the longest way around it. CD, and you end up losing the 9 points. It's not.
Yeah, I got a DC, I got a DCB, and then DDD, and then I went back. My second run of 56s, I got C all the way through, and then on my last C on 56. Mr. McDowell said you're going to struggle on 28s, and I've struggled on 28s. So
yeah, but there's also people out there that think that because you are a yellow badge and then doing the green badge, you're going to get an easy ride.
Well, none of the yellow badges get an easy ride. Not that I've ever seen.
No,
anything.
they don't. But other people do seem to think, oh, you'll fly through it because you're already a yellow badge. But it's not that. It's so intense. You know, there's so many more points. Look, you've got about 10,000 points of interest in your head by the time you've done the knowledge. Whereas on the yellow badge,
10.
As you say, you've hardly got anything. It was mainly hospital
Maybe
stations,
15.
police stations, fire stations, ambulance stations, just anything that they could, just get you from that side of the map to that side of the map, within that sector.
I thought that you had to wear your badge. Someone told me you must wear your yellow badge. So when I had my map test, I said to Mr. Gunning, I said, do I have to wear my badge when I come up? And he said, no, don't wear your badge, because it's showing to me that you want some favouritism, so don't wear your badge. And I've never been asked to wear a badge.
No, I'd never.
I've had it in my pocket every time, in case anyone has asked, but no one's ever asked.
You know, you're going to probably fall into the absolute classic mistakes that people make who are yellow badges and minicab drivers. You said you know London really well already, and what you don't realise when people start the knowledge, and I've done a small video about this before, a minicab driver comes and he says, yeah, I know London. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go. You're going to take a long time to do the knowledge straight away. The thing they don't understand about what they're about to do is it actually has very little to do with knowing London. And doing the knowledge itself, you will know London. So the knowledge itself will teach you London. So knowing London before you start is no real big benefit. Underestimating the power of the language is the thing that they all make the mistake on. So the language we speak of leave on left green lanes, right Avenue Park, left Derby Grove, if you don't learn to call your blue book, and if you don't focus on the sitting to do point to point and understanding that part, and they all think, no, I know how to get from Manor Station to Gibson Square. Okay, that's knowing it. But saying it and speaking it to another person is the skill. And we are not tested. We're not training at all to become taxi drivers. Not one bit of our training is to be a taxi driver. You learn that when you get the cab and you sit there with your identifiers in the back and away you go. You'll now learn about people's skills and so on. Your whole skill is, can you speak the language that we need to speak to convey to the examiner how we get from A to B? And can you retrieve this information from memory? So the mistake made by yellow badges and minicab drivers is the underappreciation of what you're actually training to do, and the overemphasis on the fact that I know London already. Big deal. Doesn't make a blind bit of difference. Doing the knowledge will teach you London anyway. You had no advantage whatsoever. So that's it, and that may be part of what the mistake you've made.
Yeah.
But you've done the yellow quite quickly, Joe,
Yeah.
and now you're
Yeah.
a bit of a veteran, 9-year veteran on the
Yeah.
green.
Yeah. And I'm so proud.
Well done, well
Yeah.
done. I'm proud of you too. But then everybody in your family was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, another bloody cab
Another
driver."
one. Yeah.
Was you only red line once?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, on 28s, yeah.
Painful.
John?
I've been redlined on 56s, and I've been redlined on 28s. So I'm second time around 28s. And if I don't score on Monday, I'm round again. That'd be my third time in 28s. And then I'm gonna have to change something. But I've got the problem I've got is that my missus, her father had a stroke, so she looks after him. She gave up work. We look after our grandson, so I have to work more. And they say, well, you've got to get a balance. There's a balance on the knowledge. Yeah, but if I work more, I do less knowledge. If I do more knowledge, I earn less. And I never get that balance. That's the problem I have.
I have a different view to this, and I think that you need to focus 100% on the knowledge. In the long term, you end up the bigger winner because
Yes,
it gets
sure.
finished quicker, and then after that, the world comes together. But trying to keep it together with what you're doing is a far harder thing, and there's a very high likelihood that you will never make it. This falls into that band. So if you're serious about doing it, you could try to find a way that you can go 100% and get on with it.
Yeah, spend more time on the knowledge. I know you're saying about, so there must be another method of financially backing yourself, because at 3.28, let's be honest, you're nearly finished.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you're a bit off. It
Yeah.
depends how it's going,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not far away at that.
Yeah,
to
that's
think-
right.
You're not.
Yeah.
To think it's another 4 months is...
But I think forget about them 4 months and just, use that time to absolutely perfect yourself and do more knowledge. I was a mum to 4. I had to find the time. I had to cook. I had to clean. I had to look after mums, dads, and,
Yeah.
it was bloody hard, but I had to squeeze it in.
Yeah.
And I was laying in bed one night and, I just thought, all right, I've been to sleep, then wake up, got something on my mind, run downstairs to the kitchen, look at the map to satisfy my brain so that I could then go back to sleep. That's when you are, eat, sleep, dream in the knowledge, and that's when it's really intense.
Yeah.
And you've
My
got
missus
to,
says to me, you put too much pressure on yourself. And I just think...
I think everyone does doing the knowledge.
Yeah.
I think the knowledge does put that on you.
Yeah,
You
it's
you
not
talk
just
yourself into it.
An individual, it's
Yeah.
everybody.
And it's like where you're saying free, and it's life or death. Listen, it doesn't make no difference. Whether you get red line or not, your life will carry on. The world will carry on. So you might just well get on with it. One of the things we were saying this morning in the coffee, one of the things I did, and I caught myself doing it. One morning I got up, and I used to call my book early. I was always an early person. So about 4 or 5 in the morning, I'd call a book. And I used to be at the school at 6, 10 to 6, 4:45 in the morning. But one morning I came down, put the coffee on and kettle on, and put the telly on. And an hour and a half later, I'm sitting there with an empty cup and went, shit, I ain't called a book or nothing. And do you know what? 7 years later, I ain't watched telly since. I turned the telly off and I realised that was such a distraction. And I went through what time I had and what I was doing with my life. TV was one of them things that it's a goggle box. It's a zombie thing.
Yeah.
And I don't watch it now. The only thing I might watch is some sort of live event like the darts. I watch the darts the other night. That's it. Other than that, I don't watch it. I don't watch soaps.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
watch football no more. I don't watch nothing.
Yeah. My,
I haven't got
my
the time.
Blue Book calling, because I was such a busy mum, I had a little Fiat 500, which I'd done the knowledge in. I didn't do it on a bike. It was congestion free at the time, so I had nothing to worry about. So it was a 2-door. and I had twins. So one would have to get in the front, one would get in the back. And I said, right, whoever gets in the front, they have to, because every kid wants the front seat, don't they? So I'd give him the blue book and I'd say, right, he's 7. You ask me what that read exactly what that says. Take me from, just say Manor House Station to Gibson Square, and I'm going to say to you, and I told them what every abbreviation meant. Leave on LO, leave on the left, right, but this is what. Anyway, and it taught them to read.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And they're both cab drivers now. They're 9 years old.
They're 22. They're the ones at uni. One's doing apprenticeship both in quantity surveying, so they're doing so well.
I was going to
and
say a
both of them
surveyor.
doesn't want.
We could report her for child slave labour as well there. 7 years old,
But
having a
honestly,
job.
yeah, and I made them do it. I said, no, it's going to help you with your reading and your spelling.
Yeah,
you know,
brilliant.
and there were some bloody hard words in there. Huge place. I could never,
Yeah.
everyone pronounces that different, when we could use it over in Hammersmith. We can't use that no more.
Welchit Road.
But yeah, it was
Welchit
just,
Road,
yeah.
Welch Road, is it?
Did you watch telly, John?
Do I watch telly?
Yeah.
Not much, not really.
Social
You
media.
should be
you're-
watching none.
I'm too busy working, greedy, chasing the cash.
Well, it's not greedy, it's living, isn't it? You've got to earn a living.
Well, I've got a high standard to live to, so
Have
Well,
you?
you better get that green badge then.
well, exactly. That's what I need because I'll
But
be a
you've got to
leather
find
ass.
the time.
Yeah.
'Cause if you've gone free twice,
I've had problems with call over partners. I don't. The one person I gelled with, Amjad, he disappeared. If you're out there, Amjad, get in touch. And I've had a yellow badge driver in my sector that's on it, but we don't. We're different personalities. We don't get on, but we've done the knowledge
you
together.
ain't got to get onto doing it.
No,
You ain't
no.
got to get on that well.
No,
You just
your
turn up.
journey's your journey, isn't
You
it?
turn up and do a few hours together and go.
Yeah.
But he
A work partner, a workmate. But you're right, Dave. You've hit a little bit of a nail on the head there. I mean, you're not looking for a relationship or a friendship.
Not looking
This
for
is
a wife or
job,
a husband,
Yeah,
do you?
yeah.
and you're a co-worker.
No.
Yeah. So that didn't
And
work
I'm
out. And I've gone to a couple of the schools, but I've
So
not felt-
where are
I've
you
not-
doing
I've-
it now?
I've
You
not felt
say
comfortable at
that.
school.
Where are you doing the knowledge now?
See, I went large. I bought a 10x8 shed, put it in the garden.
So you're doing it on your own.
Yeah, on my own. Yeah, I
And
got
that's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
We know.
and because
That's
not
the
only that, when I was doing it with this other guy, he said I'm coming at 10 o'clock, so I knew I had to be there at 10 o'clock. Whereas if I get up and say, right, I'm going to do it at 10 o'clock, and then I go, oh, but this job's coming. Oh, right, I can't do that job instead. Then I'll do it in a cab. I'll do it when I'm sitting on the rank. You know.
But the thing is,
And then
being
you're
at
chatting
school,
to mates on the rank.
you learn so much from other people.
I'll put my hands up. You know, where I'm at is because I'm not doing it 100%, but like I should be. I'll put my hands up to that.
It's 328. You've got to.
Yeah.
You've got
got
to
to.
now go flat out.
Yes.
Do you know what? I'd bring your sleeping bag and get in here and don't move to.
Well, there's
Yeah.
there's
Do
a
you know
new
what I
place
mean?
in Greenwich.
The first
Yeah.
time, the first time
Yeah.
I come here, the other place was better, just the wrong location. But coming here, the first time I come here, I had to queue, get a table.
Yeah, we got a little bit busy. I mean, obviously this place is not large, but we
No.
now have the other school coming, so we have more space, and that will accommodate that.
You gonna do lessons?
No, I can tell you about lessons if you want, because lessons are a smoke and mirror tactic. There's nothing to be gained from lessons. The knowledge is very straightforward. My whole skill is to teach you how to learn. If I tell you there's a lovely little acronym that you can learn to remember,
How you teach me how to learn? Because you're not teaching.
all my videos tell you how to learn. Exactly. Everything you need to know is in a nutshell is very
That's
simple.
That's beginner stuff, though, isn't it?
The knowledge is just repetition. If you get up and call your blue book every day, you have your vocabulary. If you practice the volume of point to point that you should be doing every day for around about 3 hours, you should be getting the volume done. Then you're practicing the questions you should be asked. And if you have a points repertoire, then you've built that
If
points
I did
repertoire.
everything you asked, I wouldn't be able to go work. Because
At the moment, I think you shouldn't be going to work because everything
I
you're
have to go
doing
to
so far has ended up in a position where, how long has it been going on now?
so I'm just 3 years last November. I'm on the green.
Oh, okay. I would have thought it was longer than that,
I
but
got
there's
put
3
back-
years
I
got
got
quick.
put back 6 months. After my first appearance, I was put back.
Okay, so you're 3 years in. If you're on 28s, at the position you're in, if you score, you're 3 months away from your green badge.
Yes.
If you don't score, you're 6 months away from your green badge.
Yeah.
Either of those scenarios are not that bad, are they, really? But you're looking at it from that aspect. So I've seen people give up on 28s and not realise that if you worked hard now, you're only 6 months away and you're throwing away all of the
that.
accumulated time and knowledge that you spent on it. And I guarantee they 9 times out of 10 come back and start on Manor House Station in Gibson Square again.
Yeah.
So if you applied yourself, and if you did the things I tell you to do, we're going to do a video, me and Dave, about people doing it on their own. And doing it on your own is super, super difficult. And you have to do certain things that you can't avoid. You have to get up every morning and call your blue book. You have to. It has to be done 7 days a week to keep yourself being able to speak the language that we speak. You have to do as much point to point as you can, which is around about 15 hours a week to have a good chance. Again, you need an hour a day maybe to revise your points. That alone will get you through. Any additional thing or sort of fancy stuff that you're adding on that, for example, classes, you've got the journey time from where you live to go to the class itself, which will teach you maybe nothing to one thing and then leave afterwards. In the time you sat in that class, you could have done your point to point of around 30, 40 runs and learnt something from those 30 or 40 runs that is more valuable than that class will ever give you. So the classes in general that you was mentioning are about, let's do point to point. And the laughable class is the I point at you, put you under pressure whilst 28 people watch you call a line either well or badly. Those 28 people have sat there doing nothing, listening to you.
That's right.
I would have been doing my point to point. I would have got through 5, 6, 7 runs in the time we've watched this one person do this thing. And then we go around the room and I guarantee you ain't going to get through all 28 people. So some people walked out there doing nothing, listening to others. That kind of idea is such low volume education that it's low to zero. And in terms of what you should have been doing and sitting and doing your point to point with a partner on your own, the repetition of the daily actions of those things are the absolute valuable part. The only thing you need to be taught is you need discipline, which by the sounds of it, you haven't quite got the absolute discipline.
Yeah,
this is the number one factor. You've got the discipline, then you'll do the daily routine. Then you need what is the routine, and the routine is call your blue book, do point to point, revise your points. Bike work whenever you can get out and do that bike work. Those are 4 factors with the discipline on top, and then the repetition of those actions, you will finish the knowledge. And that's it. Teaching someone an acronym for the theatres in Shaftesbury Avenue is about as valuable as a packet of crisps. It's meaningless. So I am not a fan of those kind of classes. I do some classes, which again I'll put on videos.
You did do some class. I went to a class.
My classes again would have involved techniques and tricks to teach you more things in one go. So, for example,
direction of the map.
Yeah, we spoke about the 4 across the top before we came in, Dave. So, Northwest London to North London, we and Dave were speaking about, is made of and consists of 4 main routes. That you only need these 4 routes, and you can chop them up to make every single journey you want. And those 4 routes are coming from northwest to east. You either go above Hampstead Heath, below Hampstead Heath, through Camden and Swiss Cottage, or along the Marylebone Road. Do those 4 routes, and you now pretty much have the power to do anything across the top. So once you're aware of that, the classes I was doing was to show you that you could narrow down your options, because someone who's not narrowed down the options sees the map as spaghetti and thinks there's a million things you can do. But no. That massive piece across the top is not a million things. It consists of 4 main components. And then you can break away from those as and when you wish. So they are kind of good things to teach people. But again, it does seem that a lot of people have an emphasis on what can they get for free. You're going to get an expert stand in front of you and teach you for nothing or for very little money, when that expert could go out and drive a cab or do whatever they want. It's less work than doing that kind of idea. So classes for me have always been smoke and mirrors for many people. You're not actually learning anything, and you're not actually being taught anything. You're being led to believe that that's what you're doing, but in actual reality, you're not. I use a metaphor, basically snooker. Let's talk about snooker, me and you. I'm going to teach you about snooker. I'm going to tell you that the brown scores 4. Correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't played snooker for years. The yellow scores, is it 3? Reds are 1s. I don't know. We're going to talk about that sort of thing. But you want to learn to play snooker, you should be at a snooker table playing for hours upon hours upon hours. That's how snooker's played. And the same would apply to darts. Throw darts, throw darts, throw darts. Let's not talk about that treble 17 equals 51. We can learn that all by the fact of just playing darts. And that's it. That's my idea on classes. Don't ever ask me about classes again.
I think you just need to.
Well, I'll call you the professor.
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
I think
agree.
you're there, but I mean, whatever happens on Monday, whether you score or not, whether you start, I would just go, right, whatever. I'm going to go and try my best, try and score every time, but whatever happens, you must knuckle down.
Yeah.
Because if you are starting 28s again, then you need to knuckle down, and if you're at 21s, yes, because otherwise,
Yeah, absolutely.
But there are some days that you see on the sheet that everyone has got a D that day, and I just think not everyone could be that bad.
Yes, can.
There must be a quota system of some sort. what's going
I don't
through.
know. You can all go in and have a bad day, can't you?
28 seems to be a
It
holding
depends
period.
on the level.
No.
I mean, say a bad day as well. It
Yeah.
depends on what they're asking.
Dave, we've spoke about this before. The one of my students got D'd from Hansford, but he's got red lined, but you didn't get red lined on Hansford. The Hansford appearance was one that you should have scored on. You take the appearances, for example, the harder examiners are Patel and Gunning, so you're not maybe expecting to score there, but you don't get red lined on one appearance. You get red lined on 4.
Yeah.
So you have to say that over time, it's not so much about luck. It is about the skill level that you've reached. And in general, if you reach the right skill level, you will get dropped down every level. And at the moment, you don't have enough skill level to get you over that line.
Certain examiners will give you a bit more of a leeway and give you a score. And
That's
other,
just their different method, though,
yeah,
isn't it?
and other examiners are on, like Mr. Patel, never scored Mr. Patel, like he never scored Mr. Patel. But he's given me a couple of chats afterwards, which has been very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're all great. But
Do you know what? Thinking about what you just said there, my first lot of 28s, I had Mr. Acril
Yep.
3 times on the trot. And the third time I went in, I said to him, "Oh, I've got you again." And he said, "Well, you don't have to have me if you don't want." And I thought, "No, you're joking. I scored with you like twice before. You know, I'm definitely having you." I had him again and I scored. Now, you've just hit a point, me thinking, well, I went up for that last 3-3 and I got red lined. And that probably was because of my performance during them 28s, especially the 3 with Acril, because he asked me all in at City and West End. I knew it, you know. So once I sort of went out a bit, you know, I might have like struggled a bit to get that line or went a bit wide or whatever. And I just think, well, those 3 scores with Acril, the same examiner, asking the same sort of stuff, got me to where it got me the 3-3. But then when I went up for that last appearance and I had Mr. Swire, it just all fell apart.
Yep.
And I think, rightly so.
Well, the only thing we are against at the moment, because we do think it's rightly so, is that you should have been given a 0, but you shouldn't have lost your 9 points. And on that idea,
yeah.
we could expand on that, which would be the next decision I make as your examiner is, are you good enough for the next level? So you could go in there with a really good appearance that normally you would have scored on.
Yeah.
But my decision today is the score today puts them on 21s, and I don't think they're good
They're ready
enough.
for it.
So even though generally you would have scored today, I'm going to not score you. And that would be the examiner's decision to be made every time they feel that you are not good enough. But when you go in there, you really do show that you've tweaked it, then they will give you that drop to your 28s, but you haven't lost your 9 points. So every appearance you go for, you know, you could up your game, this could be it, this could be it. The loss of those 9 points is the
it's
thing that
devastating.
shouldn't
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that. It shouldn't
Yeah.
happen.
But then
Yeah.
the idea they're stuck on is what I'm saying there is they don't know what to do if you've done well enough to score.
Yeah.
Then they've got to put you down. Well, no, they don't have to. They didn't do it in the old days. They could just say, well done. I can see there's progress. Not quite today.
Yeah.
23. And they could keep it always vague. Give you 23 every time. Brilliant appearance.
Yeah,
Just,
just
didn't
didn't-
cut it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
People would moan about that, though.
Oh, of course they would. Of course they would. Phil would
How
be
could
straight
he
up
not
there.
give it another point? John, how was the 21s? What happened on them?
Yeah, 21s. I went up. My first one, I got a C. Second one, I had gun in. I got a D. I never scored with that man on 56, 28s or 21s. Got the D. The second 21s, I thought, oh, here we go again. And then I went up again. I got Harvey, Mr. Harvey, and then my last one was
Harvey
Mr.
gave me my wreck on my yellow.
Oh right, I think he did me too actually.
Who was your last one?
And my very last was McDowell, and it was the Claridge's to La Gavroche, and it was one of his bankers. And obviously just rolled off the tongue, and you know the handshake come over the table, and it was just, I was waiting for you know the champagne to burst open, and you know flying balloons everywhere. You know,
Yeah.
I come out of there elated, and it's like, oh, there's no one here.
Oh, you're the same as me, Joe. It's heartbreaking, isn't
I
it?
wanted
you
to
have it?
know all bubbles
Oh,
and
it
whistles.
was in COVID. Everyone was wearing a mask. There was no one
Oh,
there.
yeah,
wasn't
as
it?
well. Oh,
See,
dear.
I did my yellow badge through COVID, and I would have done it in a year, but because the carriage office shut twice for 3 months, it took me 18 months. So
I've heard that was an excuse before, John.
He's looking for excuses.
Yeah,
after
yeah, yeah.
excuse.
You're sounding a little bit like Phil Leach now. One excuse after another.
I do think you've got to knuckle down. I do think you've got to push hard. You
Yeah.
really
I'll
have.
be the first to admit that.
You know, so my son started doing it now, and he's only had one appearance.
He's
And
doing good, though.
But he's out pointing now. But I said to him, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
Just keep going.
Just keep going. And I said, and what you got to remember is you're supposed to raise your game after every appearance. If you're just going to plateau,
Yeah.
you're not. You're going to stay on 28s or 56s or whatever. You're just going to plateau. You've got to raise your game after every appearance. Put in a load more work
But in fairness, though,
to show that you've improved.
I know, but on that first appearance, did he have a chance? Because I think Mark
Oh, I
Gunning would
think
have
he would
given
have
him a
had a
chance.
chance. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it.
So
But he
he-
did chuck him on. He said to me, I said, "What?" I couldn't remember all the points, but he was driving. He said, "What?" I said, "What points did you ask?" He said, "Oh, Regent's Park Station." I said, "You didn't do Park Crescent." He went, "No, I did Marylebone High Street." I
Oh,
said, "You ain't
yeah.
been able to turn left there for years." I used to go down there, Radio London, 20 years ago. You could do a left then,
Yeah.
but no. So he's done a legal there. But at first 56, you're putting him in positions like that.
Yeah.
Mr. Gunning, like you hear stories of him being like, he's really hard and stuff. My personal experience of him, he's been a perfect gentleman with me.
No, he's great.
Oh, he's a
I've scored and
gentleman,
not
all right,
scored,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know, when I didn't score, he gave me a nice little chat afterwards, and you know, you called him really well. This is what you're doing wrong. Don't worry, it's on your second card. Don't worry if you're on your third card. I went, third card? No, sir, not doing a third card.
9 cards later, John says,
Second card only,
Yeah.
sir. No, I ain't doing no more third card.
"No, Mr. Gunning
Yeah,
is
so we had a
hard.
bit- we
That's
had-
it.
we
His
had a bit-
questions are technical.
we had
He's
a
got
bit of a
some
laugh.
good,
Yeah.
good
It was great.
questions.
He puts
That's
you
it.
into future tricky situations,
Yeah.
and he wants to see if you can get out of those
Yeah.
situations.
Yeah.
There's always one.
Yeah.
We spoke about that, didn't we? There's always one examiner that needs to be hard, and
Yeah.
Mark's doing a great job. And
Do
then
you
it balances
think
out.
the examiners are basically actors in a play? It's like a big play, so they've all got a part to play.
What you mean that they know what
The
their
whole
part
thing,
is?
the whole thing's a production. In other words,
That would mean that there's some deliberation about it,
Yeah.
and there is. I think you go there with your own mindset of who you want to be,
yeah, what character you want
character
to
you
be.
want to be. Yeah, but there's no one controlling that character, which is the thing. There does seem to be a pattern emerging as they try to become into the modern world. But yeah, you don't control who that character
Like a
is.
murder mystery. Who's the murderer? Who's the detective?
Yeah,
Back in the day, they used to write down at Penton Street who your next examiner would be.
one of 3.
They did, yeah. My
Yeah.
husband told
One
me
of
that.
3. Yeah, they'd initial your card
Yeah.
with 3 sets of initials, and it didn't used to work every time though. So the person would be off sick, you end up with someone else. But they would say you have to have one of these particular 3. And now in this particular era, although it's not a written rule or a factual rule, you're not supposed to have the same examiner twice in a set of 7. But they can't always do that, so
Yeah,
you
'cause I've had
can
that.
get it. Yeah.
So my son-in-law, that's exactly what's
Yeah, I've
happened to
had
him.
that,
He's had
yeah.
Mr. Gunning twice,
Scored or not scored?
not scored.
Yeah.
Not scored, but twice.
It seems like depending on the person, some people score with some examiners and some people don't score with other, and then you'll speak to another person and it's completely different for them.
Something I've always wanted to point out all the time. Imagine you yourself are an examiner. As human beings, we're all kind of egotistical or narcissistic in some form. You sit down and it's kind of the man in the pub syndrome. You'll sit next to someone and they start speaking to you, and for some reason, I don't like him. I don't even know this person, but I don't like him. 10 years later, he's your best friend in the world because you didn't know him then, but you now know them later. And actually, funny enough, most of my best friends are people I never liked in the beginning and grew to like. People you tend to like initially, you then start spotting their bad spots and you tend to dislike them over time, which is kind of a nature thing as well. But when you're sitting down in front of these examiners, there is that factor. They instantly will look at you, and just your look will be something to them that they don't like. And then if you speak egotistically, I mean, you get some people that really think they're good at the knowledge and they convey that. That would get my back up. It's like, don't come in here with that
Attitude,
monster. Yeah,
yeah.
you show some humility,
Yeah.
and then I'll be more
I'm in
attentive.
there, I'm super. From my yellow badge, I was like, "This is no problem." Breeze through. I was like what you say. I was a bit arrogant, probably. I was in there, bosh. They're not really interested, as long as you can call it. That I went through no D's at all. Done 11 appearances, and when I come up for my first on 56, I didn't. I said to Mr. Patel, I said, he said, "I saw you in the badge, no?" I said, "Yes, sir." "No, you just got out." I said, "Yes, sir. I was always in plan to go straight onto the green straight away." "Oh, a bit quick." I said, "Yes, sir." Anyway, so we had the appearance, and he said, "Have you done your blue books?" I said, "No, sir." Because you asked me a question, I told you the answer. That's probably one of my faults.
Yeah, you mustn't tell him everything.
No, that's what Mr. Gunning said to me.
He was very honest.
Mr. Gunning said to me in one appearance, he goes, "You've got to stop talking."
No, so classic.
Yeah.
So, do you regret the process that you decided to take, which was to do PHV, do the yellow, do the green,
Well, in hindsight, I should have stuck it when I was 26.
and done the green?
Done a green then, but I come off me on the C90 after coming back from Gran Canaria in January, and I thought, bloody, I ain't doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in hindsight, I should have done it then. So yeah, in hindsight, should I have stuck on it? Yeah, but I got out of private eye quicker because private eye now is worse than what it was. I had an electric car, I got extra payment for that. I was doing all right. It was just too much pressure. I didn't have enough time to actually do the knowledge. I was worse than what I am now. So yeah, so in that respect, yeah, I'm glad I've done it. It's lovely driving around taxis. Lovely driving a taxi on the knowledge.
So you're glad of that process, the PHV to the yellow to the green. You don't think that the best idea
No,
would
in
have been
hindsight,
do the green?
I should have done the green.
Should have done the green straight
the
away.
process that I've done, I'm happy with it. I've been once I've done the green, I can say I said this to a green badge the other day. I said I've done knowledge twice. Well, not really. You haven't really done it twice, have you?
Yeah.
Well, you've done two different
The other
knowledges.
one's, he said the other one's
really,
Mickey
didn't you?
Mouse, isn't it?
Would you advise someone to follow your process?
I think it's down to personal situation, where you are at the moment, and what if you're in your mid-20s, no, go straight to the green. If you've got a family and you need to get into a taxi tomorrow, then do the yellow, because you can choose sector 2, sector 3, probably two of the best sectors, Croydon.
Is there enough work in those sectors though to provide a man to provide for his family? Like if his wife wasn't
It all
working,
depends on what
it was just
your circumstances
well, yeah, I know.
are.
Yeah, it does
Everyone's-
depend.
Everyone's wants and needs are different, aren't they?
Yeah. Some people want to buy homes, some people rent homes, and some people
The difference,
cancel.
I
You know,
think the
there
difference
is
on
different
the yellow
circumstances.
is that
But
there's a more of a community because you know each other.
I'm not interested in the community. I'm
Everyone-
interested in my wages. How quickly
No,
I can
what
get
I
out
mean
and
by
drive
that
a
is
cab.
everyone knows everyone. Everyone's worried if you're in £10 more than the other person, you know. When it's quiet in town, it's devastating on the yellow because it's dead, completely dead. When it's really busy in town, it's good on the yellow, you know. So, and then you know some people, they get a TX4, they go and sit there, they do the same thing every day, they go home. You got to think out of the box. You know,
We're going to round it up there, but I'm going to finish this off with a little nutshell, which is basically if you are going to do this and do the process that you followed with the PHV, the yellow and the green, it's a disaster in terms of your concept of life. If you'd have just done the green first, the whole thing is a different level and a different knock-on effect to everything. All you've done is just delay yourself by doing something that is not going to fulfill your needs along the way. And in the time span, if you are dedicated now to the knowledge and you put yourself into it full time, you will finish in 2 years. If you get on it and do it full time, it's over in 2 years. That pain is such a short-lived pain compared to 3 where it starts to hurt. 4 becomes a bit more seriously painful. And anything above 4, really the people are running marathons and they've died at the 15-mile mark and now have got to crawl the rest of the way before they completely die and give up or make it over the line. So driving a black cab on a green badge is the best job anybody in our category of skill levels could ever have, really. If you've not got a trade, and I know that there's lots of tradesmen who drive taxis, but if you haven't got a trade and you don't have a college degree or anything else, there is nothing better than this. You will be your own boss and earn enough money, and there is no other thing that you should be doing. I just say thank you both for coming. We've been speaking for an hour. You've bored us senseless. Me and Dave's fell asleep there.
Hey?
But thank you, Joe, for coming.
Oh, you're welcome.
And it would be a really nice podcast. Thank you, John, for coming as well and telling us your 10 penneth worth. I hope we didn't upset you too much about my fake story about the yellow badge being yellow.
Let us know how you get on Monday.
Yes, that's how you
Yeah,
go.
will do.
Yeah.